a lot of guys, they understood, they didn't want to take it, but they knew like if Vince McMahon was going to take it, and we all seen how that happened, Rock took Vince's face and just shoved it all the way up.
Oh, this is such an inspiring, great conversation with Rikishi. You could say it's too cool. And before we get into it, a huge thank you to Tiege Hanley for sponsoring this video. You've heard me mention them before, but I honestly can't say enough good things about them. I mean, they're the reason why when I posted this throwback photo of me covering the Oscars for the very first time 10 years ago in 2011, that so many of you so kindly commented that I haven't aged since then. So thank you for that. But I guess most importantly, I mean, really, thank you, skincare. Everything you need so that you can do the exact same thing comes in this box here from Tiege Hanley. It starts at just 25 bucks. So here's what comes inside the box. You get these four right here. The wash, that's pretty self-explanatory. At least I would hope that's something you're currently doing. You're gonna wanna do that first thing in the morning and right before you go to bed. Twice a week, the scrub, which digs in deep, gets all that extra dirt and grime out of there. And then you got these two. Moisturizer. Guys, you don't have to tell anybody that you moisturize, but this is so incredibly important. AM moisturizer in the morning, PM moisturizer at night. And I think the best thing about Tiege Hanley is they just make it so easy for you. They tell you what to use and how much of it to use. And on top of everything for your moneymaker here, not trying to do a John Cena thing, but on top of your face here, they also just came out with this one here called Hands, which, following in the tradition of Tiege Hanley making things super easy, I'm sure you can guess what this one's for. Hands is awesome because it contains 3 key ingredients that work together to hydrate and moisturize your hands: avocado oil, sunflower seed oil, and vitamin C. Now you're gonna need something to carry all that awesomeness around in. So if you click the link down below the video, Tiege Hanley is gonna hook you up with this bad boy right here. A free toiletry bag, and you can get started for just 25 bucks. I really wish I'd gotten started much earlier than here. Do you guys really think that I look the same as that photo? Really? Or are you just being nice? Because I mean, I'll take it either way. What a pleasure to be joined by Rikishi. Thank you so much.
I'm proud to be here, my man. Thank you for having me.
You've got a whole setup here. People need to know that you have your own talk show now, your own YouTube channel, Rikishi Driver Talk Show. And that's why it looks like I'm talking to a radio show host right now.
Well, I mean, my little 12-year-old boy kind of sets this up for me. I have no idea how all this stuff here works, but Chris, it beats taking bumps, you know?
You know that if you talk into the microphone, people can hear you. That's all you need to know, right?
There it is. I'll adapt real quick.
But you keep busy. I mean, you're just a few minutes away from me with your wrestling school, which has trained some massive, massive talent in the wrestling industry.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm proud to say, you know, Rusev, who is now Miro with AEW, has come out of our school, one of our proud graduates. We're very proud of his, you know, his accomplishments in the business. And, you know, we have a lot of other students possible that will be able to get looked at soon. But, you know, we're right down the street. It's Knokx Pro, you know, KNOKXPRO.com. And that's what my life is today, Chris. You know, I'm home, you know, kind of, you know, dealing with this, what we're going through here at the new norm, I guess. And then most of my time I'm back over there at the gym, you know. Yeah. My heart's to be able to smarten these kids up in the business.
Gangrel has told me many great stories about training at your school.
Yeah, well, Gangrel is another Uso from, I mean, man, we were all raised together with Uncle Alpha and Sika back in the day. So, you know, his training and our training, it's all the same, you know.
Now, Bow Wow's talking about training there. Has he begun training yet?
Well, I mean, this is the first time, you know, you got the spoiler here, my man. You know, not yet. You know, we have been talking, and you know, I'm very happy. Let me tell the story about how I met this kid,
please.
Bow Wow. And so back in the day, Chris, I was actually coming onto a flight in Atlanta. And as I was coming to first class to sit in my seat, their Bow Wow was, but I think Bow Wow was like 9 or 10 years old back in the day. And he was already making hit records and so forth. And so we just kind of, kicked off, me, I was on my way to work and I knew who he was. Yeah. And so, my kind of father figure kind of kicked in, very proud of you, continue to, the hard work, make sure you do good in school and blah, blah, blah. And, 20 something years later, maybe more than 20 something years, I see this tweet of him that comes on Twitter, and, I just put out a tweet to him. Before you know it, I just felt like I know this kid, for a long time. And, again, my passion for the industry and for those that are wanting to come in, that I just feel like I'm obligated to teach them the right way.
So he's not based in California though, right?
No, he's actually out there in Atlanta,
right.
And so, but he will be coming down here sometime soon this month to be able to start to get it going. And I'm going to train him, I'm going to train him like I train all my students. It's for me, not, we know his celebrity status, but in order for him to really understand the industry, Chris, we got to put that all aside.
Sure.
And to be able to really, prepare him for what's about, to happen in the future. He's got to understand what it is when he gets in the ring, how to, protect himself, how to be a storyteller. That is, theatrical movement, not really get in there punching each other in the face and so forth. So I got it. I don't know. When we find out, I like to say when students come in, Chris, I like to find the students and the students have to find me. Meaning I got to see what type of athletic ability he has. Is he easy to train? Meaning, does he listen well? Or, those type of things. Does he have an attitude? Is he coachable? Stuff like that. So I think I got my work cut out from opening my mouth too quick.
So Rikishi, I think a lot of people thought that this was a publicity stunt, but you're saying no, he's actually going to come. He's actually going to train with me.
As of now, that's what the talk says. So hey, I'm very excited to be able to be a guy to be able to give him this knowledge and help train him. For me, it's good for business.
Sure.
If Bow Wow can come into our industry and put asses in seats in WrestleMania, well, why not? Why not have him come in there and everybody should, should kind of motivate him or help him, because him coming in, or anybody coming in, either from hip hop or the movie industry, anybody that comes into our industry, obviously they're green and they need to be smartened up. Yeah. So there is no time for, for jealousy or those that just hate on a poor guy that's just, trying to come into, live, to live his dream.
Well, he obviously loves wrestling. In fact, his Twitter profile image right now is him with a WWE logo next to him.
Well, tell me, Chris, who doesn't watch WWE?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
At some point in our life, yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand when he says that, this was a childhood dream, I guess, of his, to be able to one day to do this. Why not? When is the right time for you to do it? If you got dreams that you want to accomplish, when is the right time? You better get out there and get it now.
Now is the right time. I love that Chinese proverb. It says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now.
Amen. Amen.
So if you're going to treat him like all your other students, what happens when you walk through the doors? Any student, any brand new student that walks through the doors at your wrestling school, what happens from there?
Well, first of all, when they walk through, to me, they're already winners in my eyes. Because that, when they, it's not easy what we do, but obviously, these kids walk through because they love the sport or the entertainment of professional wrestling. And so I'll sit them down, and the first thing I ask them, why do you want to be a professional wrestler? And then, they same stories. oh, I used to watch blah, blah, blah. I used to love who and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And so, and then the second thing I tell them, I asked to, do you have any type of athletic ability, sports background, or so I'm doing all that to kind of find them. A lot of them will say they've never played sports before.
Yeah.
Some come from football, blah, blah, blah. So, as I'm listening to the kids, give me what their background is, I have a person of mine dot all these notes down. And so once that is done, and then I'll take them into the ring, and I won't even run them around. I'll let them touch the ropes. I'll let them go and hit the canvas. I let them touch those steel posts, that they're all real. Yeah. There's nothing fake about that, And then I'll just have them just start, slapping the mat with their hands, because every time, 99% of our time when we're taking those bumps, Chris, we have to protect ourselves with our hands.
Yeah.
And then some of them, when they slap that mat, say, "Oh man, this is hard." I say, "Yeah," and you only slapped it one time.
Yeah.
And so and then that I just have them kind of do just regular stuff. Jumping jacks, squats. I'll have them do like 25 of each, just so I can see. Do they blow up quick, or are they in shape? And so at the end of the day, they'll be in there for like a half an hour, and then we'll just evaluate. And I say, okay, this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. And then either they come back or they don't,
Let me ask you that question that you ask your students. Why did you want to be a pro wrestler?
Oh, man. Pro wrestling saved my life. I had in San Francisco, California, Chris, the streets of San Francisco, where we were raised up back in the Bay Area. I was raised in the swamps, of Sunnydale, which is the hood back in the Bay Area. And I'll be honest, I wasn't the best of kids that followed the rules. My background, I come from, my grandparents are preachers of church, and then, my mother was the daughter of the preacher. And, we go to church, we pray all the time, but I was just going the opposite, and during the time there, it was rough back in the Bay. I was running with the wrong crowd. And at 17, I got hit by a drive-by shooting.
Yeah.
And damn near lost my life. I was dead for 3 minutes. I woke up in an ambulance, and all I could see was my mother's face. Being taken to the hospital. I could see my mother's face then. And so I was in the hospital for 2 months. And when I got out, my mother had made the decision that I was going to leave California, and she was sending me to her brothers, Alpha and Sika. Mm. And so I was 18 by then. And away it went. So I kind of just fell into the industry. My mother felt like it was time for me to leave the Bay Area. And, I'm happy she made that, she did what she did. Because who's to say, me getting back out after being shot, I could have been running with the same crowd again. So that's how that all started. The rest was history.
The scar on your stomach is from that, which I don't know if everybody's aware of that, but was there a point in the hospital when maybe you thought, I might not make this through. I might not live after this?
Well, yeah, it was really a wake-up call for me. I was in there for, 2 months.
Yeah.
And basically, the scar on my stomach, they had to cut me open, because I was shattered inside, inside my insides. And they actually said that the bullet, it was a 22, actually hit the side of my rib, which saved my heart. Had my rib would not be there, it would have went to my heart. We probably wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And so for 2 months, I was in the hospital, Chris, and my kids were very, very young, the twins at the time, and my family members were in and out of the hospital. They were just furious. They wanted to find this son of a bitch that did what they did to me.
Yeah.
And, when you're in the hospital, Chris, you have nothing but time. You can't go nowhere.
Yeah.
All I just seen was just, I feel like I brought a lot of pain to my family. Everybody's losing their mind. They're wanting to blah, 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 go find this person or whoever it is and do damage to these people here. And then, I thought about, they do stuff like that. Now, God forbid, they kill that person. Now they're going to be in prison for life and blah, blah, blah. And it just helped me just, really kind of a wake up call that, my life, to be able to give me a second chance at life was for a reason, something
Yeah.
bigger.
Did they ever find the guy that did it to you?
No,
Wow.
never did.
I wonder if he knows, with all the fame and all the success you've had with WWE, I wonder if he knows it was you.
Well, I hope one day, I mean, if you're watching this here, and you think you know who I am, I would like to personally meet you, and I would like to. I'm going to say this in case I don't have a chance. That I forgive you, man. I forgive you for what has happened to me, what you have done to me, and I hope that you can learn from from what has happened in our encounter back in the day to be able to be a better person.
Wow, that is powerful. Wow, to be able to forgive someone for that, that's incredible. When you moved in with Alpha and Sika, where were they living?
Well, my uncle Alpha was actually in Hampton, Connecticut, which is not too far from Stamford,
Yeah.
Connecticut. And Uncle Sika, he's still out there in Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
So I used to when I came to Hampton, Connecticut, I actually stayed with Uncle Alpha for I don't know till it got cold up there in the snow because I hated the snow. And then I would go down to Pensacola, Florida, where Uncle Sika was at, and Uncle Sika would have a ring in the backyard. When you seen that documentary of Yoko, that ring right there, that's where we had our training. We didn't have an academy, Chris, to go to. We everything was in the backyard.
Then you knew when you moved in with him in that moment, you were going to make it. You were going to be a pro wrestler.
Yeah, I didn't. Again, I was still green, Chris, and
Yeah.
so when I moved in, all I know is I was just coming to Uncle Alpha, and I have no idea, how to train. I have no idea what does it take to be a pro wrestler. All I know is that I've seen my uncles on TV, and I was scared of them, because they look like they rip people's heads off on TV. So and then keep in mind, I know my uncles, but I don't know them. I'm just a young kid that now all of a sudden I'm living in a new home that I have no idea how my uncles are.
Yeah.
And he really changed my life. They both did. They made me do sometimes the work to tear up the ring, to tear down the ring, to drive the ring truck. And I used to question myself, like, damn it, I didn't come over here to be a ring truck driver or tear up the ring, tear down like the ring crew. But they did all that for me so I can understand the hard work that comes everything with this industry.
I feel like if you're
And,
Samoan, you have to be a wrestler. Like I feel like there's not many other career paths because you guys are so good at it.
well, in our family, I mean, I till this day, Chris, I think we're like 18, 19 strong.
It's incredible.
Past this one legacy, this one bloodline.
Yeah.
And I always say, people ask me why there's so many. I don't know. I wish that some would go play football, some would go play, other sports. We have a lot of our nephews now. You know, they're able to go play other sports and stuff. But I think it's just the pride that they have in this. From the legacy. Uncle Peter Maivia, Uncle Afonseca, Yoko, The Rock, Umanga. I mean, it's just that just continue to, with our young ones in the family. It's like they want to step foot into that into that footprint and then continue to carry on, which
Yeah.
we see today. The Usos, Roman Reigns are doing a hell of a job. What they're representing the family out there, and let alone The Rock in the movie industry.
Right.
And then we have our young ones that are yet to be seen, like Jacob Fatu, who is the Tonka Kid's son for MLW.
Yep.
And I wish he would leave MLW and go to AEW or go to WWE or Japan. There's so much that kid has to offer in this industry that he's just being locked out for now. And, he needs to, make the move, And then I have my son, who's the Usos' third younger brother, Sefa Fatu, there's a lot of noise about him going to AEW as well. So, I'm very proud of all of our young kids that are coming through the industry to continue on the legacy.
It's an amazing family tree. And I think that some of these are pretty obvious, but if I give you a name, can you tell me your relation to that person?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously Jimmy and Jey are your sons. That's an easy one. Rosie. Who's Rosie in the family tree for you?
My first cousin.
Okay.
That's up off.
Okay. Roman Reigns.
My first cousin.
Okay. Everyone's going to be your cousin, I feel like, on this list.
Yeah.
Umaga.
My brother.
Your brother. Yokozuna.
My first cousin.
Nia Jax.
She is a double cousin back. Second cousin.
How were you related to Rocky Johnson?
I'm related to Rocky Johnson through Atsa Maivia, who's my auntie.
Okay. And then who would Peter Maivia be?
He's be my uncle. He's uncle. Keep going. I got him all for you, man.
I know. I've got more for you. What about Lance?
Lance is my nephew. That's my first cousin, Samu, who's the head shrieker. That's his young baby. So my nephew.
What about Jimmy Snuka?
Jimmy Snuka, he's my uncle.
So Tamina,
so many of us, I got to think.
I know, this is great. So how are you related to Tamina?
Tamina's related to me. She's my cousin from Jimmy Snuka.
What's your relation to The Rock?
The Rock is auntie. Hold on, there's a lot of us. He's my cousin through auntie. Yes, through auntie.
And then Jacob?
Oh, he's my nephew. That's the Tonka Kid's son. The kid is my brother.
Did I miss anybody here?
Sefa.
Okay,
Sefa,
yeah, and then we talked about Afa and Sika being your uncles.
Yeah.
I mean, this legacy is unbelievable.
Chris, it's a freaking reality show. I'll tell you that, man.
It should be. It's on your chest right there. Samoan Dynasty.
Hey, I wear it proudly.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing about, like, when you say Us or you say Uso, like, family means so much more to somebody like you.
Chris, it's our culture, man. We're coming from Polynesian, being raised up in a household of faith and culture. Everything starts within our living room. And, even though, this family legacy comes from different angles, different gimmicks, as we walk through that squared circle, we never forget who we are, the core of where this family comes from. And, it's pride. It's the reminding of us of why we are out there, to be able to, represent, where we come from. As, back in the day, a lot of people didn't know who Samoans were, and you have Uncle Peter Maivia and Uncle Alpha. They were the ones that, put Samoans on the map as far as in professional wrestling. And so you can imagine that we coming into after them, man, that was a lot of freaking pressure, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wanted to quit. Sometimes I said, this is not for me. But then, when I think about, why I was sent there, you know, as far as for my mother and so forth and my parents, there was no turning back. There's no quit in Samoans.
When you meet you, you realize just how big you are. Like you're a big dude. And I'm really curious to know, were you always a big dude? Like, were you a big kid?
Oh no, man. I mean, I was a slim kid back in the day,
I don't believe it.
Chris. Yeah, I was. I mean, I'd have to send you some photos later. Anyhow, no, I was probably like, I don't know, maybe about 200 pounds, maybe 180 pounds back in the day in high school. And I really start to, put on weight when I turned 18. Uh, I was actually in that environment with my Uncle Alpha. And every morning, Uncle Alpha would wake us up at 7 a.m. in Hamden, Connecticut, be it snow, raining, or sunny, that we would go to the powerhouse gym, and I would train with the likes of, Tony Correa, Ivan Putski, the powerhouse. We were there with some of the SD Jones. These are names way back way back in the day.
Yeah.
And we were a young kid, but that was our atmosphere. I came from a city boy to all of a sudden in an atmosphere where everything is working, like, training early in the morning, come back, put up the ring, get in the ring, start training till the sun, comes out, tear that freaking ring back down, and then repeat the cycle over and over. Now, those type of atmospheres, was new to me, and when you start taking protein and you're starting, your uncle's having you eat, like a lot of tuna, a lot of rice, and barbecue chicken, and really, I'm just a 18-year-old kid, and I've never. Next thing you know, Chris, I start to like what I start to see in the mirror. I start bulking up, kind of look like a
Yeah.
bodybuilder.
Knowing what you know about the industry, both good and bad, were you apprehensive to let Jimmy and Jey get into it?
Very,
Hmm.
very. I didn't want because their upbringing and my upbringing is totally different. The boys there, you get a chance to go to college, you got a chance, they lived a good life. Their father, I got out there and I did what I had to do so my kids wouldn't come up the way I came up. And Jimmy and Jey, they've been around the business all their life, Chris.
Yeah.
They were everywhere. It was just in them, and I just wanted them to do something different. Like the plan at my age during the time was like at 46 that I wanted to be on the sideline of 40 on NFL, either or team. I just wanted to get an RV, and I wanted to travel to all their games, and and so one day I was on the road. I came home, and they both sat me down, and they wanted to, they threw that that curveball to me and said that they didn't want to play football. They wanted to join the family business.
Mm.
So, it was difficult for me because I knew if I went against it, then it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work out. And so, as a father, you always try to support. It might not be my decision, but you always try to support your kid's decision to be able to give them that, knowing that, okay, you're going to do what I do, but I'm going to tell you, it's not easy, man. You got to get ready to all the stuff you see me come home and drop my bags at the door, can barely walk through the bedroom. You're going to understand why there's some nights that I come home, I don't feel like talking. I just want to get to my bed or my recliner, and just put my stuff down and just get some rest. And you might feel like I'm not paying attention to you, but the life that you live on the road when you come home, it's your peace of mind. It's your way to get away from all the chaos, all the bullshit, all the politicking, all the everything.
Yeah.
I just want to be safe in my home, and you're going to understand why. Like so, but they've been into the industry 12 years, and I'm very proud of both of them.
Do you think if they continued playing football, that there's a chance we would have seen them in the NFL?
Oh, most definitely,
Huh.
most definitely. But the plan was that they go to make a name for themselves in the NFL.
Yeah.
By the time they make a name for themselves in NFL, they'll come to WWE because I know how WWE is. They'll bring a person with a name in there, like, for that cat that came from New England Patriots.
Rob Gronkowski.
Gronkowski. You come in, you can imagine what type of money they paid him. And he didn't even know how to work. And so, that for me was the plan for my boys, is to go play NFL. That way, you live that. You can say, okay, I've done that. My parents are happy that we did that. Now we jump over here. But by the time they jump over here, you don't have to go through all the other system of being a new cat in WWE, because you're already a superstar in the NFL league. You can write your ticket with WWE.
Yeah. For you, what was the first real break in your wrestling career? When did things really start clicking for you?
You know what? I want to say at the beginning of my career.
Okay.
And what I mean about that, Chris, it was that the lessons learned, coming into this industry with my uncle. I'm so blessed to have my uncles be the one there for me, and then, to have our family circle so tight. When I first came into the industry, I've learned so much about what it is to smoke some mirrors. And I started when I was 18. I turned pro when I was 20. It only took me a couple years at 20 years old. And then I'm traveling, going to Texas, the Von Erichs. I'm going to Puerto Rico with Carlos Colon. I'm going over to Egypt, where I have no idea. But all these different experiences that my uncle has taken us through, it really helped me prep for the WWE, for WCW. So by the time we came to the big time, we were 23, 24. We were young, strong horses that the big companies look for to be able to dance with their big stars who they got going on. And so when we came through, it wasn't, I was so used to making $30, Chris. By the time I got to the WWE and made the big contract,
yeah,
it didn't faze me at all. You know what I mean? It didn't, because I was already, the value of the dollar of making $30, the hard work that we did on the independent scene. Now, when I come there and do the hard work there, it's just an extra to us. And our job was to stay employed, stay away from all the drama, and just protect every time we jump in the ring. My uncles used to say, you respect that square circle. If you respect the square circle, you're going to have a job for a long time, meaning the passion, the pride, the will to be the best damn tag team or the best performer there. It's going to keep that weekly paycheck coming, and the office is going to see it.
Right. I mean, things were obviously going really well in your career, but Too Cool must have really changed everything for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, that era when that happened with me, Scotty, and Brian, rest in peace for Brian. That was kind of like when that hit, Chris, I knew it was okay. It's all gravy from here. I mean, I was getting paid to stick my ass in people's faces and bust a move and dance. All these years, Chris, it took me breaking my body, bumping, getting hit with chairs, getting hit with, you name it. And then finally, this is what takes me overboard, was backing that ass up and busting the move. It's time changes, I guess, and I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful and thankful that, all the fans out there just, they really made me feel that it's okay for me to be my size. It's okay for me to have a thong on there and do what I do. I must be the toughest man to wear a damn thong in professional wrestling.
Were you the one that came up with the idea that was going to be your ring attire?
Oh no, that was all Vince McMahon and his creative crew. you know, keep in mind, I was the Sultan before that.
Yeah. You were
And
wearing a mask.
yeah, so the Sultan gimmick didn't even last long. I signed a 4-year deal being a Sultan, and I came on TV and I was crushing everybody every Monday Night Raw. I think, Chris, it was like 2 months that I was killing people on TV. Next, uh, they planned to go the opposite way, where I think Brett turned heel, and then he was going up against the Patriot. So who better to put the Patriot over than the guy from the Middle East?
Sure.
To set him up for Brett. And then when that happened, I was done. I told Vince, so where do we go from here now? They said, we'll go back to the drawing board. But I just signed a contract for 4 years. So I didn't make no I didn't make no noise about anything. I just stayed out the way. Got a weekly paycheck for damn near 3.5 years to stay home, And during that last 90-day clause, before your contract is over, I went and I actually wrestled Kurt Angle in Memphis. That's when Kurt Angle was just starting out in Memphis for Jerry Lawler. Yeah. And when they came down there, Bruce Pritchard seen me, and I was every bit of, that weekly paycheck being off for 3.5 months. It was not but barbecuing every week and having a good time. He seen me. I was every bit of like 450, I believe it is.
Wow.
But I could still move, I was still just real light on my feet. I didn't feel I didn't feel like anything, wrong with me as far as inside. I could still breathe. I didn't have no problem carrying my weight. And Bruce, by the time I came back from TV having that match with Kurt, they said that Vince wanted to have a meeting with me. And that's what happened. We had that meeting. And then the way we went, with the ideas that he wanted to, when he came up with the idea with wanting to do a sumo, as soon as he said sumo, Chris, I thought of my cousin Yoko.
Of course.
And I was like, nah, I don't want to, I don't want to do a sumo character when my cousin already done it, and just do the respect for Yoko. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, he came up. He wanted to do the whole, yours would be different. I want to do the whole where you show your butt, like wear the shoot sumo gear. Now, when he said that, I said, do you mean like just, everything just show just your butt, my buttocks just wide on TV? Yeah, just the real thing, the whole new blah, blah, blah. And I was like, right off the back, I said, Now keep in mind, I'm like 90 days out from this other Sultan contract. Now here's the part here. Now, if you kids are out there, you're going to listen about this industry, when to make your move and when to sit back and shut your mouth. And so you're 90 days out, Chris. The numbers come up, and then all of a sudden the sumo gear is different from what Yoko, because Yoko had the whole tights on. Yeah. It wouldn't show his button. And I'm thinking, I said, okay, that's good. The first thing I thought about was my kids. Like what, in high school and school in general, kids are ruthless to other kids. And I didn't want kids to, start ripping my kids at school. Hey, your dad, blah, blah, blah. So I took the drawing home. I told Vince, let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. I took the drawing home. I had dinner on the table. I pulled those drawings out. Listen, here's the deal here. This is going to be my new character. And I want to know from you kids there, will you guys be upset if I wear something like this on TV? They all told it. Wow. Hey, that, you want to do it? That's up to you. It's all good. I said, that's all I had to hear. The rest of the things in my mind, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take this character, because I already knew people, when they see me come out there, I knew people were going to be smirking. There was going to be a lot of heckling and blah, 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 even in the locker room. Yeah. I already knew that was going to come. But in my mind, I'm going to take this character and I'm going to make this work, Because for me, I'm just getting through with this 4-year contract from the Sultan. Now I'm going to get, come into this this next contract, and I want to make this character work to the best. So I asked to change up a few things as far as the sumo character, and that's where you see the blonde hair come through. And then all of a sudden, we talked about, okay, what would a sumo do, after their matches? Let's go ahead and bust a move. I used to dance for money anyways in the Bay Area, Pier 39, when I was 15, 14 years old.
Right.
And so I thought it'd be cool for me, Scotty, and Brian to treat people with a dance or something like that, because you never seen those before.
Yeah.
It's always after somebody wins in professional wrestling, Chris, that's it. Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Leave. So we wanted to give them something special. And then, the rest was history. When the Stinkface came, that was it. Everything.
Well, where did the Stinkface come from?
So, I'm still trying to find this old lady from Mobile, Alabama. If you're out there, this has been about 25 years. If you're out there watching, listening, thank you. I love you. I owe you, I owe you everything for just telling me what you said that night. And so I wrestled Bossman in Mobile, Alabama on a house show. And I've been doing house shows with this gimmick on, with the thong. And, that old thing where you clothesline somebody and they in the corner. And, Bossman fell to that stink face position as we know it today.
Yeah.
So when he fell, all of a sudden, now keep in mind, Chris, there's 20,000 people in the arena. But all I heard, I didn't know Bossman fell down in that position. And all I heard was, Rikishi, turn around and stick your butt in his face. And I'm like, this is where that look comes from, to where I'm kind of looking slowly, because I'm looking in the front row, who's saying that? Who's yelling that? And as I turned around and I seen Bossman in that corner. And when I took the first step, Chris, you can hear like the pop of the crowd. It kind of came up. Took the next step, it came up higher. By the time I got to him and I turned around, it was like a pop that I've never, ever heard in my career. Like, damn, this is what it feels like. And it was there, it was, the people are ready. And all I can hear Bossman. Now, keep in mind, we have never done this move before, me and Bossman. Bossman says, all right, baby, go ahead and stick that booty in my face. We got him now. And I said, you sure? He said, bring it on, baby. Oh, bless his heart. He took that damn stink face like a champ, man. And that was on a Sunday, Chris. The next day was Monday Night Raw. Yeah. And that's when the stink face was introduced to the world.
What a story.
Ain't that something?
That's amazing, Rikishi.
So, lady, if you are out there, old lady, grandma, I don't know what your name is. Thank you so much. I love you.
Who had the biggest problem with taking the stink face?
I think it was a lot of the guys, man.
Well, sure.
A lot of the guys. Well, keep in mind, here's the turnaround. Now, while we're doing this show, I hope a lot of you wrestlers that are listening out there, because the youngsters. And so keep in mind, Chris, I mentioned this about, I already knew people were going to laugh about me coming through with the thumb. So when the roster see me come back in this new outfit, everybody thought it was a rip. Every single bite, but nobody would say it to my face. You can feel it, because my ass get hot when I walk by people. I can feel like they're staring at it. Yeah. Oh, let's be real. My buttocks is not the most beautiful buttocks in the world, but here are the people, the roster, they won't say it to your face, but in our industry, everything they think is a rip. When somebody changes their character, it's like, oh, they're coming back again to try. So whatever the case, but let alone they didn't know that Rikishi was going to be one of the biggest stars in the industry of the Attitude Era. And so every single person, which they didn't know, that I can hear the heckling, and I hear it, but I don't know who did. All I remember who's sitting in that in the hallway. By the time I got to come to the Stinkface, Chris, I always knew, like, if I'm wrestling somebody that that night, I would come. There would be like some fried rice on my chair because they knew I like chicken fried rice. And they knew, so when they start prepping it up, like, because they knew I had to give them the Stinkface. That's just part of the Rikishi character. So there were times where a lot of the guys, they took it because they understood their role. It was my time, and when they take it, you can tell those that take it straight up, like Booker T. Shout out to Booker T. When Booker T took it, he took it head up. When The Rock took it, he took it head up. Kurt Angle, head up. So a lot of guys, they understood. They didn't want to take it, but they knew, like, if Vince McMahon was going to take it, and we all seen how that happened, Rock took Vince's face and just shoved it all the way up. And Vince said, boy, he said, Rikishi, I hope you clean your buttocks today.
I felt like Rock pushed Vince's face so hard into your ass. I felt like Vince was going to break his nose.
Oh, man, when you're live, man. You know what I mean? I mean, that was one of the most iconic. I think that was when we shut down the Kiss My Ass Club. And that was the way to do it right there. I mean, he took it like a champ.
Was there anyone that ever said, no, I'm not doing that spot?
I don't remember. I honestly, I didn't have to worry about none of that. You know what I mean? Because nobody would come tell me in my face. Keep in mind, Chris, I'm Samoan before I'm a wrestler. If we all know Samoans, we don't back down from shit. You know what I mean? And, we're good people. We're business people. I mean, but at the same time, we're warriors, man. And, from our culture, respect level is a huge thing. We're not the type of people that lie. We're truthful type of people. What you say is, we believe you. But when we find out that, man, you played us or you tried to play us, now everything turns left, And so we had that type of reputation in the business. And, I thank my uncles, Peter Maivia and Alfonseca, for paving that type of way. Because, again, when they came and gave us that knowledge, we carried that into the locker rooms. And the era changes all the time. Like what used to be the same for their era was different in our era with Yoko, Rock, and then Umaga's era was different now with, Roman and Jimmy and Jey. It's just a whole new different era. And, it's just different when you walk through their locker rooms nowadays. It's a whole new different vibe. But, shout out to them for continue to, lacing the boots up and continue to do what they do as far as the legacy in the family.
Yeah. When you talk about not backing down from anything, that spot when you fell off Hell in a Cell is so terrifying to watch. I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah. I all I could say was, when you love something, when you were prepped up for, anything that the industry throws at you, and the smarts, I knew that I wasn't the person that was going over in that match. But I also knew that what can I do to be able to steal that away and have people years down the line talk about.
Yeah.
Now, I was, no doubt it was very nerve-wracking. I've watched him, Mick Foley, come off the top of the Hell in a Cell, and God bless him, man. I mean, he's put his body so much for this industry that, I always say 30 seconds, an accident can happen. And he could have died in any one of those big boom bumps that he's taken. And so it was my time. It was my time to come and, Taker's known to throwing somebody off the Hell in a Cell. But I've never knew that when my time would come, it would be like, taking a bump backwards onto a flatbed, steel flatbed. And there's no rewind from that, Chris.
Yeah.
Meaning that, when he grabbed me, my last words with him was to tell my family I love them. You know what I mean? It was weary. But you can hear the crowd. They're exploding. It's that moment, Kishi. You can't turn back now. This is what you signed up for. This is what you trained for. This is what the people, they paid their hard-earned money to come watch you guys do what you do best. And these are the chances that you take as a pro wrestler when that time comes. And, I'm thankful, I'm happy, I'm grateful that I was safe and that, they'll continue to play my high spot through in the Hell in a Cell years to come.
Well, the funny thing is people will remember that spot. Most people can't tell you who won that match, though.
There it is. And that's exactly what, what the mindset is.
Yep.
Like, my uncles used to tell us, it's not who wins, son. It's what people remember. If you're in there getting your heat on a person, you get your heat so well and so believable that people forget the finish.
Yeah.
And that was my mindset that day. So, but don't try that at home.
And it was Shane McMahon that walked you through that spot and made you realize that it was okay.
Yeah, let's give credit to what credit's due. That Shane actually went up there and, they asked me, do I want to do it? Meaning practice it. And I said, no. I wanted to go just, when the time is right, meaning during showtime. But he got up and he kind of just, he did it like as if, he does that all the time. He's just fearless of heights and stuff like that, and got up. He kind of walked me through it, and I'm standing down from the cage looking up. And it's a say, Kish, it's very easy. Just stop back, just you'll be standing like this, and you just take a step backwards, and then your whole body will just go, just fall where it falls. I was like, in my mind, I hope that truck is in the right place because I'm 400 something pounds. You know what I mean? I'm double the weight that he is, but he did it. I think he did it a couple times, And they asked me, said, would you like to try it now? I'll go ahead and do it when it's showtime, And there it is. When I got up there, and it's like, damn it, I think I should have tried this before, but it was too late. I mean, it was too late then. It was time to go.
But even with the padding, how much did that bump hurt?
It hurt, man. I mean, honestly, it really, I'm 400. I was 450 or 425 during the time, Chris. And they had padding there. I think the padding was like 3 feet and then a lot of hay on top of that.
Yeah.
But when you're coming from a 50-foot high cage at 450 pounds, I hit every bit of that steel metal plate in the back of the flatbed, and you can see the whole truck like just went to the springs, and when you watch it very close, I didn't know if I made it. I was so full of anxiety, energy, in the moment when I land, you can see my lips are just like they were shaking. And then the first thing I was trying to do was move my toes just to feel if I have any type of, feeling in my body. And I was just laid out, and they drove that freaking flatbed in the back by the locker room as we came towards the gorilla. And there was a standing ovation there. All the boys, Vince, the whole crew stand up. Even Shane came and congratulate for the bump that, I hit the bump right solid. So I was like, man, it was a rush. But I said, I'm only going to do that one time. And that was the last time I did it.
I was always so blown away in the way you took a clothesline. Like you took a clothesline like a cruiserweight.
Yeah. Well, I wanted at my size. They always say that they stereotype, they look at big people and they think that we can't move. Big people can't move in general. And so I took time learning that 360 at my weight. Every time I turned, Chris, I used to go head first because I was so heavy.
Sure.
Do it again. And I do it in all the house shows. A lot of boys say, damn, man, you're going to break your neck. You're going to break it. But I was so determined to perfect that move that one day I just found it. And I kept doing it and kept doing it. And then it was my stepping and my footing and my timing to where when the guy gives me that clothesline, you're not to stop. I wanted you to go all the way through. And so, once I found the technique, there was my wow moment. So I can say you never see a 450-pound guy do a 360 like Rikishi.
Was there ever a point in your WWE career where they said, you've gotten big enough, like maybe it's time to slim down?
My last character was the Rikishi.
Yeah.
And so there was never a point to where I couldn't, like I wasn't holding my own. It felt different, at 450, when you're going every night. Now I know at 450 when I was in Memphis, I wasn't working that much every night. I wasn't on the road. So of course I had energy to go. But when you're on the road 200 something days out the year, Chris, after a while, that 450 start to kind of, all right. Now I felt it in my knees, you know what I mean? Sometimes in my ankles, but I never exposed it to anybody.
Yeah.
I never, in this industry, I'm trained to, if I'm hurt, nobody would know it in our family because, we were trained to, the day you let the promoters know you're hurt and now you might be out the door, they're going to bring somebody else in. Now you don't miss that paycheck.
Yeah. But Rikishi, being on the road as much as you were, what's flying on a plane look like when you weigh 450 pounds?
Oh, geez. It's sleep to me. It was, I was, they put me up front.
Okay.
I was always up in first class. So, but sometimes, Chris, and those that are listening, first class is not what first class is, it's just, you get all the little perks and stuff. But I used to sometimes, like I knew certain flights and I would take my first class and give it to one of the boys. And then so I can have an aisle and a middle seat where it's more comfortable for me, But of course, I took all my drinks and my food in the back from first class. So,
do you think with the momentum that your character had, do you think that you deserve to have a title shot or a title run?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that was one thing that I wish that would have happened. I just wanted to have that shot to become the world champion at least one time. If you're in this industry and not shooting for the top like that, then you're in the wrong industry. It's time for you to get your priorities straight. Even though a lot of people may think it's a work and so forth, but you can tell they put the belts on certain people for a reason. And if you're not fighting to perfect your craft, to really get a look at, have the company, the bookers, the promoters be able to have that look on you, then you're not working hard enough now you're not understanding what this industry is. And so, had I been able to turn it back around, Chris, I would have loved to have a match against The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin for the title and beat him. And beat him on a big grand stage, WrestleMania. And, the rest, everything else, I'm thankful. I've won the Intercontinental belt. I've won, the tag team multiple times in different companies. But it's nothing like winning the main belt,
Yeah.
So let's hope one of my boys, will win it for me or something,
Well, does Roman kind of count?
Oh, yeah, it count. But I mean, my own, that comes from my seed, you know?
Well, what does being inducted in the Hall of Fame mean? What did that mean to you?
I thank all of you guys. That really meant a lot to me. Um, you know, just to be able to be acknowledged and appreciated of all the work that, you know, that I've been through in this crazy industry of professional wrestling. It's that attachment between me and the fans that they acknowledge me. And, you know, I really, you know, miss the fans. I don't miss the business of wrestling, of all the politic and all the traveling, but I miss you guys.
Hmm.
You guys were like the fuel, and you probably hear it all the time, but I never get to say that. You guys were the fuel for me to be able to, you know, help make me love myself for what I'm doing out there. That every time that there was a boo or a cheer, you know, I felt that connections with the fans. And being a Rikishi character, you know, that character was a fun, loving character.
Yeah.
Like it was a happy guy, you know, that just when it's time to have fun, he has fun. But when it was time to whoop ass, you know, he can run with the best of them. And, you know, to be able to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, that was all the fans. And I thank you all for loving me and supporting me through my career.
How much do you miss your blonde hair?
I don't. I'm happy. Look, in my scalp for 27 years, Chris, I had to bleach the thing, and you know it burns inside your scalp. You know what I mean? I'm not a natural blonde, so as you see now, I'm kind of going back to my old, you know, what I started with, you know, and so it feels good to wear. You know, my wife likes it. She doesn't have to bleach my hair anymore.
You look a little more like Yoko now.
Yeah, well, I'm back to the natural, the way I used to look.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing about all our family members. You know, my grandmother's genes, which is Alphonsika's mother, right? And her genes is so strong. Like all our features, we kind of look the same. If you really look at all our features in this part, everybody looks kind of the same. So, you know, of course, you know, our grandfather was a preacher, man. He was a preacher, but I think my grandfather was a wrestler before because, man, he'd preach the Bible a word to you. But if you stepped out of line, man, he wouldn't hesitate to knock you out, Chris.
Well, I mean, I've interviewed your sons. I've interviewed Jimmy and Jey. I've interviewed The Rock many times. They look so similar in person.
Yeah. Hate it. That's weird, you know, but that's a good thing, you know.
When I interviewed Jimmy and Jey, they said that when you first started doing the Stinkface, they were like, "Oh man," they were a little embarrassed by it.
Well, of course, you know, I mean, I would too, you know, but hey, when you understand the industry, like, hey, I'm out there doing what I got to do to put food on the table for my family. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I know that professional wrestling is sports entertainment. You understand? So by all means, whatever they throw at you, and this goes back to our training, like you are that damn good enough that whatever character the company throws on you, you can get that character over. Not too many people can do that.
There's been so many great takeaways from this, Rikishi. I want to thank you for spending this last hour with us.
You know, Chris, thank you, man. Thank you for opening up your platform. You know, I love doing these type of shows is to be able to help, you know, bring awareness to the business that I love so much that has taken care of me and my family. But I also utilize this platform is to be able to each one teach one. Like the kids that you are coming into the industry of professional wrestling, that make sure you take time to listen, you know, to these type of shows. When you run into OGs that are in the independent scene, you know, don't just not go talk to them. Don't think that we don't want to talk to you. You know, we're at our time in our life and our age is that we want to teach you kids to be able to, you know, understand the industry. And you guys have it so much good today that we don't want you to lose the opportunity because you're not smart how to conduct yourself in this industry.
Yeah. I end every interview by asking my guests, what are 3 things that you're grateful for in your life right now?
My family, me living, and my new grandkids.
I love it. Rikishi, this has been such an honor, such a pleasure, such a privilege. Thank you so much for this. And I look forward to coming to your school in person.
Absolutely. You got me, man. You got my number. Let's link up sometime soon. And
let's do it.
Continue to do the good work.
Thank you so much.
All right. God bless you, Chris. Bye-bye.
Well, there we go. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Rikishi as much as I did. What an inspiration he is. And the fact that he forgives the guy who shot him and did kill him for 3 minutes. That was mind-blowing. I also learned that Rikishi lives like 10 minutes from me. So I'm thinking round 2 will be an interview that we do in person. Hey, click right there. That's the interview I did with his sons, with the Usos. They were awesome. Almost as awesome as Rikishi. Almost as awesome as you for hanging out with us on this interview. Although if you listen to the podcast, you already heard this 2 days ago. Insight with Chris Van Vliet, wherever you get your podcasts.